notes.
Well, I kind of hope you took them for someone else.
Let's make sure we're cooking. Oh, it says we're cooking. All right. Wouldn't it be nice if all the people that watched showed up? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? All right. I'm going to do things just a tad bit different, but not much, because I want you guys to hear some things. So on these services every week, we're going to read the daily Psalms. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I know most people, I don't know. I don't know how often you read, but there is a daily reading that I do every day. There's one in the morning, one in noon, one in the evening, and one before bed. A daily reading. And it's, I know a lot of times when people hear that, they think it's very Catholic, but you know, there is a rhythm to it. And this is not something that just come about. You know, remember when Jesus in Luke chapter 4 comes into the synagogue and reads the Bible verses. He reads from Isaiah. He wasn't just making that up. You know what I mean? That just happened to be the daily reading. And if you think, I mean, Jesus could have turned to any verse and, oh, well, I want to read this one today, but he didn't. That was the daily reading. So there is a rhythm. There's a rhythm of life. There is a rhythm. And so this daily reading is that way. So I know you guys, I don't know, has anybody here ever heard of that? You never heard of the daily reading? Joe? Joe has. He's Catholic Joe. But again, this is one of those things that Protestants say, well, if the Catholics do it, we'd rather burn in hell before we do it. And we got it wrong. So the daily reading, and if you go through the daily reading, you'll read the Bible about every year. And like I said, it's not doctrinal. You're just reading. And you know what? You need to hear. Yeah, I mean, this ain't reading a verse and studying and pondering. There's time for that. But you need to be saturated in Scriptures. You know, the Hebrew people were saturated in Scripture. And you just never know when, that verse, that phrase is going to come to you in that moment. But if you're not saturated, what's that, Denise? Nothing to draw on, that's right. So, and there are so many times in my life when, boom, so it's just from that sense. And then I'm going to read different readings, but today I'm going to read the Apostles' Creed. Have you guys familiar with the Apostles' Creed? Hey, and you know what? A lot of people thinks if you do this stuff, well, hey, you're turning Catholic. But do you know what Catholic means? Does anybody know what the word Catholic means? Does anybody know? I mean, well, give me a guess. I mean, somebody said, what does Catholic mean? What would you guess?
I would have to say Catholicism, and I don't know what that means either. You know, that's to be Catholic, so I have no idea.
Maybe the church.
This is saying of or including all Christians.
It means one church. Catholic, it's a Latin word. It means one church. But you see, what we decided was, oh no, we don't have one church. We got a whole bunch of churches. So the Protestants get their name from protesting the one church. So they become the protesters or the Protestants. All of us, except Joe, grew up as part of the protesters. And if we're protesting, what are we protesting? Everything they did. Not everything they do is wrong, you know. Yeah.
I used to do nun's hair.
Uh-huh.
I was a hairdresser. I had a few, and one of the sweetest people I ever knew when I came down here and had surgery over in Lebanon, where the hospital there, it was a Catholic, a Catholic nurse. Sweetest lady, most praying lady I've ever seen.
You know, a lot of times, and a lot of it we get our view from, and we'll look at this a little bit more today, we get our view from TV. TV always shows Christians as weirdos. I mean, it really does. If you're a Protestant, then you're a country weirdo. But if you're in the city, you're a city slicking weirdo. And what I mean is, if you're in the country, you're one of them weird people who's just too holy for everybody else. If you're in the city, it means you can go to the bar and drink beer and then go confess 3 Hail Marys and you're good. That's the way they show Christian people. So we kind of get this idea, well, them Catholic people are crazy. They believe you can go do whatever you want and go confess and it's okay. I promise you, they're honestly no different than most Baptist people, because most Baptist people believe it's okay to beat your wife and treat her like crap. You know what I mean? So we need to get off the bashing each other. One church. So if we call ourselves Catholic, we are in good company, because it means one church. It means universal church, one church. So anyway, the Apostles' Creed, Joe's probably got it memorized. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah. See if this sounds familiar. Yeah, he's not a good guy. Okay. The Apostles' Creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty. And as we go through this, guys, just see if there's something you disagree with. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. I say we here, so I'm going to change this word I to believe. We believe in Jesus Christ, God's only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He ascended to the dead. On the 3rd day, he rose again. He ascended into heaven. He is seated at the right hand of the Father, and he will come to judge the living and the dead. We believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and the life everlasting. Amen. I think that's a good creed. No. And you know, as I say that, that's like a confession of something that, hey, here's kind of where. So, like I said, I'm going to go through these things because I want us to be saturated in these things. So, this is not my lesson today, but we're going to read Psalms 5 and Psalm 6, unless anybody else has a psalm they want to read. And I'm always a promoter of the Psalms, okay? Can never get enough of the Psalms. Psalm 5 and Psalm 6, I don't know what they say. I didn't read them yet, but it's part of the daily reading. Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my sighing. Listen to the sound of my cry for help, my King and my God. For to you I pray. In the morning, Lord, you will hear my voice. In the morning, I will present my prayer to you and be on the watch. For you are not a God who takes pleasure in wickedness. No evil can dwell with you. The boastful will not stand before your eyes. You hate all who do injustice. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord loathes the person of bloodshed and deceit. But as for me, by your abundant graciousness, I will enter your house. At your holy temple, I will bow in reverence for you. Lord, lead me in your righteousness because of mine enemies. Make your way straight before me, for there is nothing trustworthy in their mouth. Their inward part is destruction itself. Their throat is an open grave. They flatter with their tongue. Make them pay, God. Have them fall by their own schemes. Scatter them in the multitude of their wrongdoings, for they are rebellious against you. But rejoice, all who take refuge in you. Sing for joy forever, and may you shelter them, that those who love your name may rejoice in you. For you bless the righteous person, Lord. You surround him with favor as with a shield. Any comments on that psalm?
Kind of like now, when you were reading, it's kind of like if, I don't know who prays and who doesn't, but like, when you're praying, how bad the situations are, the world is right now. And you're kind of like, you're going through that whole thing, destroy the works of blah, blah, blah. But then you do the other two. So that one's kind of really fit for this day and time.
Well, yeah. Now, that's a good point right there, because you can remember, one of the things I like about this, and this is always good, you guys make good points. We know vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. But there are people in this world that will flat tick you off. Okay? And if you pretend like you're above being ticked off, I would say then you're pretending you're above God, because I can read in the scriptures where God has gotten pretty ticked off. And so what I'm saying is it's okay to vent on the Lord. And when I see in the psalm right here, he's thankful for coming into the church and the sanctuary and all those that come in, and at the same time he's angry, or she is angry, whoever wrote this psalm, and he's wanting God's vengeance upon them. Yeah. So, see, I read those things, and this is kind of what I think, and it just, okay. Psalm chapter 6, or Psalm number 6. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, Lord, for I am frail. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are horrified. My soul is greatly horrified. But you, Lord, how long? Return, Lord, rescue my soul. Save me because of your mercy. For there is no mention of you in death. In hell, who will praise you? I am weary with my sight. Every night I make my bed swim. I flood my couch with my tears. My eye has wasted away with grief. It has grown old because of all my enemies. Leave me, all you who practice injustice. For the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my pleading. The Lord receives my prayer. All my enemies will be put to shame and greatly horrified. They shall turn back. They will suddenly be put to shame. Any comments on those? Yeah, it sounds to me like when he starts out, he's like, where you at, Lord? But then at the same time, I get the idea that he is, I don't know, just in my mind, maybe he wasn't doing the right thing. And he's like, oh, my Lord, I hope you're still not mad at me. I kind of get that picture. Uh-huh. And then, all the tears and all the crying. And then, there's like three parts to this psalm. The first part, Oh Lord, I hope I haven't ticked you off. The second part, where are you, God? I miss you. I'm crying all night. And then the third part, he's heard my cry, and now my enemies better watch out because God's going to do. That's kind of the way I see that psalm. That's that again. That's a very quick kind of overview. But so now you know Psalm chapter 5 and 6.
Have you heard that in your childhood and even adulthood growing up? God's going to get you.
Oh yeah, 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 no doubt. Well, this will bring us to our lesson, and this is from Mathew chapter 16. And, again, my goal here, I tell you guys this all the time, is I'm trying to create in us all, an imaginative mind, a mind of mystery, a mind that can ponder the Lord. And why is that so important? Because if you don't do that, you will have, or you will think you have, God in a little box. You got him all figured out. And it's not the way it is. So I've kind of backed up. I've slowed down a little bit. And I want us to, again, be able to imagine, ponder, be in all kinds of things about the Lord. I'll tell you something that happened yesterday to me. Got called into work. Wasn't thinking nothing of it. I thought, well, I can sneak down there to work, and I figured I'd have to reset this radio. Probably take me 5 minutes. It's down at Swords Creek. But a lot of times when I get called into work, I always think, because there's been so many times that I've needed extra money and work is provided. I never got a check in the mail, William, but there's been work that just shows up, and I'm able to go do the work, pay the bill. You know what I mean? And, I don't get a lot of overtime, but here it comes, and I'm thinking, well, maybe there's something coming up that I'm going to need. Maybe I should go take this call. Well, yesterday it's kind of cold. I didn't know that Bandy was so cold. Yeah. You come out on your car and the hair's all, or the frost is all standing up, looking at you, talking to you. I know what a hoar frost is now. But anyway, I go to Richlands. Normally I would go to Raven and sit on the rail. Well, this time I didn't. I didn't want to drive all down through there, so I go to Richlands, I get the track and sit on the rail right there. You know where I'm at, sitting on there at the office. I'm high railing down through there. And down past the hilltop, back over on the riverside, I saw a whole homeless encampment. Y'all could see it.
Where is it?
I don't see how could you see that? This is almost like behind, like when you're coming up that hill past the Kentucky Fried Chicken, there's a little road that turns right there. Yeah, it's back over in there. I mean, tarps and all kinds of stuff set up there. And I come high railing down through there. I guess they heard the railroad, so they kind of scramble, because they know the railroad will come and run them off. But they ain't on railroad property. It just kind of stirs in your mind. I guess God wanted me to see that. I don't. Because I'm always thinking in my mind, what can we do to help or what all this other stuff. And I think of these other signs, and then boom, there they are, right there before your face. Now, what do you do? Now, I know what I would have done years ago. I would have called them lazy bums, need to get a job. But something's changed in my heart. I don't see it this way. I see people that have lost their dignity, had things taken away from them. Huh? They've lost hope. And you know what? We could say, well, they made bad decisions. Okay, all you who walk on water and have never made a bad decision, come forward. Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what I mean? Some of them are just more devastated. I had to go and get some antibiotics the other day, and I'm there, one moment in line at Walmart pharmacy, nobody's there, but they ain't got your stuff done. And the next minute, there's 3,786 people in front of you, I counted, waiting to get their medicine. And I always feel bad when I go up there. I always think, as people watching, I always think, as people going, I wonder what the preacher's on. I wonder what he's taking now. So I'm like, I like to go over there when nobody's around. It's like, I don't want nobody to see. I have to take something. But, hey, we all got to. But anyway, I look up. Well, there's a good friend of mine I went to school with, known him since kindergarten, old Tim Horde. You know Tim Horde? And, when you ain't seen anybody for a long time, but you've been friends for 50 years, you just pick up where you left off. And I didn't know Tim's working for the sheriff's department now. And me and him was just talking, and he told me some stuff. I probably shouldn't tell you everything he told me, but he tries to deal with compassion. And if you know Tim a long time ago, he's just hard-headed and stubborn as a bull. And now to see, and he just put his arm around me and me his, and we're just talking. He said, do you know the difference between half them people I got in the back of my car and me? He said, they got caught and we didn't. And that's the truth for a whole lot of people. He said, they got caught and we didn't. And if you can remember that, and, these Psalms and all of this, and so this compassion, I guess, is what I'm thinking about, So I just think, I have all these ideas in my head, and then all of a sudden I'm high railing, and boom, there's all these homeless people. And I'm thinking, I'm not thinking charities. I'm not thinking all this other stuff. I'm thinking, golly, it's cold. It's cold. How are they surviving? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, what can we do? And I got some ideas. I work with a guy. Again, we've been lifelong friends, Peanut. I'm going to put it on him Monday, and I'm going to say, Peanut, me and you're going down to see these people, because I don't want to go in there by myself. And you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what the Lord, you know what I mean? You just don't know. In my mind, I'm thinking the Lord didn't send me out to work to give me some extra money. He wanted me to see those people. Now, what do you do with that? And I stopped by on the way back, and I hollered and tried to get people to come, but they didn't come. And I can see the intimidation. I'm in my railroad truck on the rail, lights flashing. They're not going to come out. So, well, I didn't have any. I wasn't going there for that. I'm thinking in my mind, I got to go down there and fix this radio. But there it is. And I'm saying, if you pay attention, most of the time the Lord will just set things, people, circumstances right here. Because I'm always thinking, well, if we do this, those things are okay. We got Celebrate Recovery, and we're doing, those things are okay. But there's a lot of right here, right now, how can you bring dignity to a human being? And I don't think any of us are excluded from that, to bring dignity. When I say dignity, I'm saying the image of God. That's what human dignity is bearing the very image of who made us. And I don't know anybody who God didn't make. If you can find somebody, you go ahead and let me know. But, I mean, if you can find somebody that's born apart from the life-giving essence of God himself, then we can talk and we can renegotiate scriptures. But until then, I think all human beings were called to bear the image of God, or bear the dignity that comes along with God. So keep that in mind as we approach these questions here. Matthew chapter 16. Just a few verses. This is called, But What Do You Think? Verses 13 to 15. Maybe I will read some more. Okay. Now, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he was asking his disciples, "Who do people say that I, the Son of Man, am?" They said, "Some say you're John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others Jeremiah, or one of the other prophets." And he said to them, "But who do you yourself say that I am?" I'm going to keep on reading just a little bit. Simon Peter answered, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus said to them, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not overpower it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall have been bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall have been loosed in heaven." Then he gave the disciples strict orders that they were to tell no one that he was the Christ. From that time, Jesus began to point out to his disciples that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders, chief priests, scribes, and to be killed and raised upon the third day. And yet Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, "God forbid it, Lord, this shall never happen to you." But he turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You're a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on God's purposes, but on men's." So I'll stop reading with that, but we'll talk a little bit about this. In one of Rainer Mara's letters, famous letters to a young poet, it's Rainer Mara Rilke. He encourages his young protege to set with what we don't know. I have the hardest problem with that in the whole world. I don't want to set with what I don't know. I want to figure it out. Okay, if God doesn't answer my prayer right away, I want to know why, Teddy. I want to know why. What's going on? What's happening here? Maybe I didn't say the right thing. Maybe I didn't read it. I don't know. But here's what he says. Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart. Try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are written in a foreign language. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. Listen to what that says. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given you because you are not able to live them. Not answer them, live them. And the point is to live everything. Not to know it in that sense of intellectual knowledge, but to what? Live it. To live it. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day unto the answer. Live the answer. Live into the answer. Guys, for me, this is a whole different approach to Scriptures. And here in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus invites his disciples to live a question. Who do you say that I am? Now, guys, that's for every one of us today. This is not a in general question. This is a question for William and Christy and Tim and Denise and Kathy and Joe and Tracy and Jeff and everybody. Dad and Lottie, everybody here. You know? Who do you say that I am? I mean, Jesus asked them as they make their way through the villages of Caesarea Philippi. They're on a journey here. They're traveling through. And he says, who am I? And in other words, what's he saying? What's the question? He's saying, where do I stand in this life that we're making together? Where do I stand with you? I mean, has that ever been a question in a relationship before? Where do I stand with you? In other words, what is Jesus saying? What do I mean to you? What do I mean to you? Have you guys asked that question? I mean, we just read some of the Psalms, and I mean, the Psalms are just like the richest soil ever. And I go back to Psalm 6, and I'm thinking in Psalm 6, I'm thinking in the question, you know, it's like, God, where you at? I mean, where you? I'm crying all night long. Don't come at me with your anger. And then in this rich soil, I know what you mean to me. You're the one that makes my enemies scatter. You're the one who just, fills my heart. You're just the one that I'm longing for, and every night I'm crying, where you at, God? Where are you? And, you know, we got to answer the question. It's not always that way. It's not always that way. I don't.
You can't answer it until you're in the situation and he becomes the answer.
Yeah.
Until you've had suffered great loss, you can't know that he's a keeper.
You know, last night, you guys may not know this, but there was a baseball game on last night. I didn't want to watch it, and Tracy's like, we got to watch it. It's Game 7, World Series. Dodgers, Toronto Blue Jays. She's a sports fanatic. Yeah. But I love watching those games. Of course, I'm a Dodger fan. And, I mean, everybody just predicted the Dodgers to lose to Toronto. I mean, it's had so much. And we're playing in Toronto. Imagine you're going from L.A., you're going to Toronto. It's cold, Canada. They're playing. Dodgers are down. They fight their way back. We're in extra innings. I mean, just imagine how this plays out, because to me, it's just an epitome of things to come, because you're fighting and you're struggling and you're fighting to come back, and the most least likely guy in the whole world on a cold night gets up, I can't remember his name, boom, cracks a single home run. Tim must have been watching. Pow. Yeah, Denise.
I like it.
Yeah.
I got to watch World Series when I was growing up.
Yeah. I mean, so he cracks a home run. I mean, and here you are. And it's like, wow. And it's like, there's hope. So now, 3 outs, Toronto gets to bat last. All they got to do, and they get 2 men on base, they got a guy on first, they got a guy on third. We got 2 outs, or we got 1 out, a man on first, a man on third. Next crack of the bat, could L.A. wins? Or if he hits a home run, or if he hits a double, it's game over. Next crack of the bat. And man, it's tense, and we got Yamamoto up to pitch, MVP by the way. And man, he hits one. The guy cracks a bat, goes to Mookie Betts. Mookie gets it up. He's playing shortstop. Instead of running it to pitching it to the second baseman. He just runs to second base, throws it to first for a double play, and immediately game's over and the celebration begins. And I find it so fascinating that, and I know it's just a game, but the running, the jumping, the cheering, the hats in there, the gloves in the air. And every time I think about that, I think, man, that's the message Jesus brought in the midst of all of the other stuff, so you could understand a little bit about all the struggles, everybody's just so full, they got their shirts on, their hats, and everybody loves everybody, and you know what I mean? And I thought, wow, what a kingdom message that Jesus is. When I read those verses, Jesus has given us the victory. Those are things I have in my mind. You know, they'll go back to L.A. and they'll have a big parade, and there'll probably be riots, and there'll be people get arrested. That's another story. But I see the team pictures, and I see all of that. And I wonder, in Game 4, if you would have asked the Dodgers, what does L.A. Dodgers mean to you? Versus last night when Mookie Betts turned to double play, what does he mean to you? What does the Dodgers mean to you? And now Jesus is coming to us, and I promise you, this is not a one-off answer question. And I know that we kind of do that. It's not a question to live with. It's when I say, let me say it this way. How we've kind of taken this for a long, long time, maybe I'm just including myself here, is we've kind of answered that as a creed question. Who is Jesus? Well, I've heard some people tell me, I heard somebody a long time ago told me he was a Baptist. Honest to God, I'm telling you, they told me Jesus was a Baptist. Well, could you kind of go from that maybe your perception is a little skewed towards being a Baptist? And if Jesus is a Baptist, then that means he doesn't like Joe, or he doesn't like anybody that's outside of the Baptist culture. Maybe we've thought about it, it's a doctrinal question. Well, you got to be part of the saved, you got to be part of the elect, you got to be part of this, you got to be baptized, you got to do, you got to meet all this. So we try to answer it as a creed question, as a doctrinal question. Who is Jesus? So I'm sitting here, looking at Teddy. Okay, Teddy, question number 1, who is Jesus? Well, I think, no, you missed it. Wrong answer. You're supposed to answer it according to the creed. And if you can't answer it according to the creed, then you missed the question. And you understand. So you get all of this. And then you got to be, if you answer it according to the creed, it's got to have this certainty. And all of that, there's nothing unsolved about that, is there? We've got Jesus nicely tucked away. We got the bed made, and the corner's tucked in, and the line's all right, and everything's done, and it's perfect, and it's matching, and it's got symmetry, and it's in line, and we're good. We know exactly how Jesus is. Who do men say that I am? A, B, C, D. This is who Jesus is. I got a minute over here. I can read it to you. This is exactly how he is. He doesn't deviate. Is Jesus, how many times you guys ever heard this? Is he not the way, the truth, the life, the resurrection? Is he not? Yes, amen, he's that. But is he more? And if his conversation with the disciples has anything to say about it, we're still meant to live the question of who Jesus is. We're meant to live that question. We're not meant to solve it. We're not meant to land when it comes to theology. And you know what I mean by land when it comes to theology? Well, this is how God is. I got it all figured out. There's, one of the things, and I kind of love it, there was always this doctrine of predestination. You guys ever heard of the doctrine of predestination? Well, sometimes people will preach on it, sometimes they won't, because when you're going, well, then how much is predestination? Because, people will say, well, I'm a Calvinist. I believe you guys were chosen and you guys weren't chosen. So then we got to argue the fact, well, wait a minute, I just raised my hand. Was that chosen? Was that predicted? Was that predestinated? Wait a minute, I just kicked my leg up. Was that? Well, you're going too far with predestinated. Well, how much is too far? I mean, he chose William in the womb before William was born. Did he cause William's eyes to be a certain color? Well, yeah, he did. Well, if William raised his hand, did he cause it? Well, I don't know, you're going too far. So I love that even the very questions you walk in muddy the water. And I think God is just up there smiling like, yeah. Yeah. So I really do. I think he winks a lot of times at our just foolishness thinking, oh, yeah. Oh, so you think it's all about chosen and election? Oh, yeah, boy, you guys, yeah. I got something that's really going to knock you over. But see, you can stand so hard in that when he does knock you over, you break. Then you don't know what to do. And I think he's calling us to journey. I mean, I don't know about you, but we take a lot of the mystery away in the journey. I'm still old school. When I go somewhere, I don't always, sometimes I've had to put it in my phone. You got Google Maps now. Google Maps will take you right through the back door of somebody's house if you want to go. But when I had to go somewhere, a lot of times I'll go in and I'll get the big map out. Oh, I can take 40 and then go down here and get well, I can go this way too. and I'm just driving along and I'm enjoying the scene. Oh, I never saw that before. The journey. We're invited on a journey, all of us, invited on this journey. And on the journey, we're meant to wonder, we're meant to explore, and we're meant to question. You remember Jesus says this so often. Well, he does anyway, except you become, as a little child, you can no wise enter into the kingdom. Guys, do children explore and have questions? Or do they know everything and they got their doctrine all figured out?
That's only when they become teenagers.
Yeah. And in our whole society, we got a society that wants to grow up so fast and figure everything out so fast instead of just enjoying. I mean, I'm high railing down through there yesterday. Well, the rail is wet. When the rail is wet, you can't stop good. Well, I'm seeing a squirrel sitting right on top of the rail eating a nut. And I'm thinking, Lord, I hope he moves. Because I hit brakes and my truck goes because of them brakes on that thing. And when it's doing that, you can't tell if you hit nothing or if you don't, because I have chopped a squirrel in half before. And you're just tooting the horn, and sometimes that squirrel is like, I love walnuts. I love them. They're so good. And I'm like, man, I hope it's good because I'm wanting to. But, I mean, and that's an adventure, I'm just in my mind thinking, I hope it, but I saw him running off. I didn't get him. But, it's an adventure. And, stop and smell the roses. Yeah. 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 But let's back up here a little bit. As Matthew tells this story, he starts his big question with an easier question. And he says the big question, or the easier question is, who do the people say that I am? What's the word on the street? What's the church down the road? What are they saying? What have you heard? What's the latest opinion poll? What are they saying? I mean, that's a pretty easy question to answer. I can hear the schoolboy disciples. And you got to understand here, most of these disciples are probably teenagers, answering real good. Oh, man. Some say you're John the Baptist. Some say you're Elijah. Some folks think you're Jeremiah. Others say you're one of the prophets. I mean, that's the easy one. I could just hear them. I mean, imagine Jesus is walking, he's looking at disciples. What's the word on the street? Who do people say? Oh, I'm telling you what, I heard the other day you was Elijah. Somebody even said you was Jeremiah. Oh, they're for sure you're one of the prophets. I mean, come on, Jesus, patting him on the back. I mean, good Lord, I mean. I'd say them being teenagers, they probably go on for a little while joking and talking. Probably Jesus doesn't get are y'all walking with him as he's going down the road? Now remember, Jesus is probably 31, 32-year-old. He's talking to some 15, 16, 17-year-olds. He's walking down the road. All these boys here with him, these people, and he says, what's the word on the street? Psh, you're a man. You're Elijah, man. You're Jeremiah. I mean, I can just hear, here is me and Joe and Jeff and Teddy. We're just young disciples walking down the street, and Jesus kind of in the middle. And I say, man, some say he's Elijah. And Jeff says, he's Elijah. And we high five. Yeah. And Joe says, well, I heard they think he's Jeremiah. And Teddy says, that's what I heard. And they're high-fiving. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's one of the prophets. Yeah, and we're just talking. Oh, yeah, man. He's one of the prophets. Oh, yeah. And we're just walking and we're talking. I don't know, man. Could be Isaiah. I don't know. I mean, I've heard some say Zechariah. I don't know, but I mean, there's a whole lot just going on, and we're just walking, and we're having a big old time because we're traveling with my man Jesus. We're just traveling. But now, who are these people? All of these people are Jewish people. Did I name any prophet that wasn't a Jew? I didn't name any prophet that wasn't a Jew, did I? No. Are there any prophets in the Bible who wasn't a Jew? Oh, I believe there is. Huh? You don't know? You remember Balaam? You remember he was a world-known prophet, and I think the king called him over to prophesy against the people of Israel. Remember, he's the one that the donkey spoke and all of that over in a long time ago. But my point is, the answers they come up with match the religious factions that they're partial to. So if you grow up a Baptist, there's a good idea that Jesus is probably going to be Baptist. Well, if you grow up a Catholic, probably Jesus is going to be Catholic. If you grow up a Pentecostal, Jesus is probably going to you to be Pentecostal. He's going to be along that line. He might deviate a little bit, but you're pretty locked in on what and who Jesus is. So, the Baptists take on who you are, but then there's a Calvinist one, and there's a Presbyterian one, and the Catholic ones, and an Orthodox. And also there's this view. Who do the agnostics and the atheists say that I am? They're going to have a different view. Are they not? Of course they are. And now we can dismiss all of them, but do you think that Jesus doesn't love the agnostic and the atheist? Well, I say he loves all. I say he loves all. See, that's kind of a challenge to us, isn't it?
But he created all, so why wouldn't people think that he loved them?
Well, I mean, love is his very nature.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't create something that he didn't.
Yeah. So all these disciples, everybody, you're Jeremiah, you're all that. Here's one thing that's interesting. Jesus neither confirms nor denies any of that, does he? He doesn't say, well, I'm not Jeremiah. I'm not Elijah. Or, yeah, I'm like Zechariah. Boy, I'm like Isaiah. He doesn't say a word about it. He doesn't say a word. He just listens. He allows this young group of boys, his friends, to offer up everything they think they know. I mean, I don't know how many, could be 12, could be 70 walking with him. I don't know. And they're all popping off, and he's just walking with them, and he's just letting them go on. Now, how long did this conversation go on? We don't know. But I'm walking with him. I'm hearing. And, after I hear a little bit, Jeff, he might be a little bit reserved, but finally he just can't stand me and Joe talking about who Jesus is. And then Jeff finally jumps in the mix. Well, he could be Micah. I mean, I don't know. He could be. I mean, he could be Malachi. I don't know. He could be one of them. Well, that's a good answer, Jeff, but I don't like Jeremiah, So we got this going on. So they think they know. But at the same time, as if to say, this is an okay place to begin. And this is where the explorations of faith begin, in naming what we've heard and examining what we've inherited. Because you know what? We got different backgrounds. Our background is primitive Baptist. That's where our faith journey began. Maybe not Christians. Maybe Christians come up and Joe and Catholic and you and something else and you and something else. But that's where our faith journey began, right? That's where we started. And in that we inherited a whole lot of things. As a Catholic, you inherited a whole lot of things. As being primitive Baptists, we inherited a whole lot of things. As being whatever, you inherited. Free will Baptists, you inherited a whole lot of things. And when you inherit that stuff, it's yours, it's given to you. And you know what? You didn't earn it, you didn't study about it. It's just given to you, isn't it? Boom. And you think, it is. This is what I've been given. Cherish it, hold on to it, right? That's what they tell us. And then when somebody asks you the question, who do they say that I am? What do? You give back, you parrot back the certainties that somebody else handed to you. It's not yours, Denise. Somebody gave it to you. Okay, Denise, you want to be a part of this church. You've been here for 10 years, and as you came in, and every Sunday somebody handed you something else, and it became yours. And it really wasn't given to you by God himself. It was given to you by men. It was handed to us. And guys, is there anybody whose faith doesn't come that way? It begins there. We all began there. There's nothing wrong with it in that sense. That's where we start. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And those answers that you parrot back, what do they cost you? They don't cost you very much, do they? Why? Because they didn't cost you nothing to get. Everything was handed to you. Jeff comes into the church, and I got it all wrote down. Here you go, Jeff. You got any questions? Right there. Turn to page 3. We'll answer all the questions. You want to know who Jesus is? Page 4B. Look at that, and that'll answer all the questions. What do you do in this situation? That's on page 5. Right there. You got it. Go. Go be a good Christian. Right? We all do that. They don't cost us very much, these answers. They just hearken back to tradition and offer us a foundation to build on. But we can't stop there. At some point, the question of who Jesus is must become personal. It's got to. So Jesus, in the story here, he presses on, but who do you say that I am? Has anybody answered that question today? Is anybody living with that question again? Jesus is looking at his disciples. He's looking at every single one of them. Well, yeah. He awaits a more intimate answering, because what he's inviting them to do is to set aside other people's theologies and come up with your own. Now imagine that. One of the things that always grouped our churches together is we always thought we all got to believe the same thing. But who Jesus is to me, I hope it's different to you, because you know what? I'm me. And all my little weirdness and weirdo stuff, I'm me. And who Jesus is to me is going to be different than he is to you. Is that not true? But if we try to make him this, it is really the beauty of who he is. So he's asking us, for one, to set aside our other theologies, our Primitive Baptist, our Catholic, our Pentecostal, our Free Will Baptist, and say, wait a minute, let's lay all that we've inherited down. And let's live with this question a minute. Let's just live with this question. Who is he? I mean, for me, I'm just going to answer this. This is a guy who gets me out of bed early at 6:30 in the morning and sends me on a high rail trip to show me a group of homeless people. This is just a Saturday morning adventure, right? He's like, boom, I want you to see this, Denise. Here you go. I'm going to put this before your face. I've woke you up. You thought you was going out to work. And let me tell you what happened when I got to work, Teddy. Strangest thing. I'm going down there. We got all these new electronic, all this other stuff. Oh, nobody from work is watching this. And so after I go by, then I kind of know what's going on. So when I get down there, I'm thinking, Teddy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this stuff. All this new electronics and new all this. You know what I mean, William, when you get into the new stuff, I don't know what I'm going to do. Nobody to call Saturday morning. So I go in and I'm thinking, I'm going to do a reset. You know, Jeff, reset fixes everything, don't it? Amen to reset. Amen to reset. I reach up to grab the cable on the radio box. We got radios, cell phone modems, all this stuff. I reached up to grab it, and the thing was unplugged. Amen. Boom, plugged it in. Lights come on. I said, God is good. God is good. Amen. Everything come back on. So I go down to Boston, turn around, the high rail all the way back. Yeah. So, answer's different, right? Answer's different. So, he wants us to set aside our theologies and articulate our own, as if Jesus asked them to consider carefully the life that they've lived with him in his company. That's what he's asking them here. The bread that they've broken together, the miles they've walked together, the burdens they've carried together, the laughter they've had, the tears they've had, all together. And he's asking then, who am I to you? Jesus wants to know, how have you experienced me? Because I'm telling you, I've had all kinds. I've had the moments of, we read in the Psalms, where are you? Are you asleep? Have you left me? Did I do something wrong? Did I tick you off? Has anybody, maybe I'm the only one who's ever thought it, that you are the only one of all the people in the whole world, you're the only one who could tick God off enough to leave you alone. He's got grace for everybody else in the whole world. So you guys are laughing. So you thought that? So, in my thinking, William, I'm thinking, I know God's got grace for you, but I have stepped over the line. And God has said, enough with you. I'm done. So I'm glad you guys feel that way. But, he's been with me in all of that. We've cried together. We've laughed together. We've had joy together. We've been bored together. Maybe I'm the only one who's ever been bored. Has nobody ever been bored? We'll talk about that next week, but maybe you live a fascinating and exciting life, but sometimes I can hear the clock. Click, click, click. I hate that sound. I was like, I need something going on here. 3 to 5. Yeah. 3 to 5, yeah. So he's asking all of us the question, how have you experienced me? He wants to know. And Matthew here, he doesn't give us much detail. And I wonder how much time, a lot of times you read these verses, you just read, he said to them, but who do you say that I am? And Simon Peter answered, you're the Christ. You're the Messiah. We don't know how much time was in that verse. Between those verses. He doesn't give us the detail. Was it 20 minutes? Did Peter just jump right up on it and crow like a rooster? Was it an hour when Peter's over there like, I don't know if I need to answer this or not? But I imagine, again, here we are all walking on the journey. Jesus is leading. And we've all high-fived. Me and Jeff thinks you're Jeremiah. And Teddy and Joe thinks you're Elijah. And we're just high-fiving. And then Jesus asked that awkward question. Well, Jeff, who do you say that I am? So now we got some awkward silence going on. And I don't know how long this silence goes on here. And maybe now we don't have the eye contact. Before, we're kind of wanting to see Jesus' response, right? I say, hey, Jesus. I can just see, hey, some say you're Jeremiah. And, I want to see Jesus' face. Jeremiah, man, that is so cool. And some say you're Elijah. You remember what Elijah did and all the miracles. Oh, my God, this is awesome. But then Jesus says, well, who do you say that I am? Oh, Lord. I mean, do you see the eye go back? Oh, Lord. I mean, we started off with an easy question, but now the question gets, I don't know. And you know how it is. If I don't look at you, maybe you won't look at me. Because I don't want to make eye contact, right? I mean, we just don't want to make eye contact. Because then, once you make eye contact, we're locked in, and I know you're going to call on me, and I don't really want you to call on me, so I don't know, but I got to tie my shoe. Because that's what we do, right? We're avoiding. I don't really want to answer that question. We're going to tie our shoe. That's right. But Jesus, he invades your personal space. He wants to know, Christy. Okay, you've been married 35 years, okay? That's good. I've been with you through the whole marriage. Who do you say that I am? I guarantee you 35 years ago, you would answer that question different than you'll answer today. And 35 more years, woe is you, William. You're going to be, how old is that going to be? 70 years? 70. No. I pray God bless you another 35. I really do. But, that answer is going to change and it's going to grow. It's going to evolve, So I see the awkward silence, the avoiding the eye contact, the shuffling around, the tying the shoe, the staring at each other, and hopefully somebody else will speak up. And at that same time, I imagine Jesus standing. Remember, this is kind of the word we've used these last several weeks. Vulnerably, in the midst, through that long silence, stopping, looking, being vulnerable, waiting to hear, who are these disciples? These are his closest friends. I mean, his pals, his buddies. The question's got to be rolling in your mind. Do they know him? Have they learned to trust him? How much have they learned to comprehend of his mission, of his vision? Do they know him? I mean, I wonder how many times I've rode by people that God put right there, and it'd have to be like that squirrel, eating a nut up on the rail, and I'm thinking, God, I hope you move so I don't run over you. I wonder how many people, Teddy, I've run over, went on about my business. Why, Teddy? Because I don't know him. I think he's Jeremiah, Elijah, all of these things. How much do they know of Jesus' mission, of Jesus' vision? How much do we? How much are they willing to confess? Do they love him enough to speak a truth that might cost them? Because if I speak this truth, it means I'm probably going to have to set aside some of these things I inherited. But here comes old Peter. Bold, reckless Peter, Simon Bar-Jonah. When the silence becomes unbearable, throws himself right forward. Remember, he's the oldest probably, 25, 26 maybe. He stakes his claim. Boy, he stomps his foot. You are the Messiah. You're the Christ, the Son of the living God. How many times have we heard that preached, Kathy? Oh, thou art the Christ. And boy, you can't get that unless God gives it to you. And, oh, man, Peter got it. Did Peter get it? Because we think, well, Peter stepped up. Obviously, he knows who Jesus is. He's the Christ. Wouldn't that be our confession? Oh, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. We got you. We figured it out. Page 4A. Right? We know. That's a perfect A+ answer. Is Jesus the Christ, the Son of the living God? Of course he is. Yeah. Jesus commends Peter's answer. He blesses Peter for the answer. He declares that he will build his church upon the rock. Not Peter, but his bold testimony. He promises Peter the keys to the kingdom, right? All of this is true and it's powerful and it's worth celebrating. But it's not the end of the story. When Jesus goes on to describe the suffering, the humiliation that he's going to suffer when he goes to Jerusalem, all of that being a Messiah must include, Peter backs up, doesn't he? Peter pulls Jesus aside. Now remember, Peter just confessed, you're the Christ, you're the Son of the living God, and I know what it means. It means you're going to Jerusalem, and you're going to stomp on all the enemies. You're going to wipe them all out, buddy, and I'm going to be on the right hand. Jeff's going to be on the left. And my gosh, we're coming in, and we're going to conquer this place. Man, we're going to put these crazy people down and get our country back. And Jesus says, Jeff, when I get to Jerusalem, I'm going to fall into enemy's hands, and they're going to beat me to a pulp and crucify me, but I'm going to raise again on the third day. And Peter says, what are you talking about? That is no talk that should come out of a Messiah's mouth. You shouldn't talk that way. We're going to conquer. We're going to be victorious. And you remember what Jesus says? Oh yeah, Peter, I forgot. Yeah. These are some pretty sharp words, wasn't it? Get behind me, Satan. What a rebuke. You are confessing that you know me. You're the Christ, the Son of the living God. But when I tell you what goes into being Christ, the Son of the living God, you don't have a clue. You don't know anything that you think you know. You don't have a clue. Right? And you know what, guys? I hope we can all confess that we don't know. Because, and that's a very stinging thing. Get behind me, Satan. And I'll be honest with you guys. I have never heard Jesus tell me that. I've never heard Jesus tell me that. But I think I have felt it a time or two. Does that make sense? Because I have, in my mind, I wanted him to do. This is what I think Messiah should do, Teddy. If I was a Messiah, this is what I would do. This is how I would handle this situation. And I haven't heard that stinging rebuke, get behind me, Satan. But I have felt the stinging silence. Have you guys ever felt the stinging silence of God's silence?
That's the first question Paul asked when he was smote down by who art thou, Lord?
Who art thou, Lord? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I like what these things teach us in this exchange here. I like what it teaches us about the living the questions of faith. I like that Peter's confession, thou art the Christ, you're the Messiah, signals the beginning of his explanation of Jesus' identity. Okay, you're off to a good start, Denise. Kathy, you're on the right track. Yes, I am the Messiah, the Son of the living God. It's good. It's good. Good place to start. No better place to start. See, we thought that was the end, William. Man, you're just at the starting line with that explanation. And what does a kid want to do? Oh, I know. Thou art the Christ, Son of the living God. Woo, we got it. That's just the beginning. It's not the end. As soon as Peter thinks he's got the answer to the question all nailed down, Jesus shuts him right up. Jesus challenges what he knows and nudges him back to the starting line. Yes, I am the Messiah, but no, you don't have any idea what Messiah means. And in fact, you're not even ready to know what Messiah means. You can barely tolerate me talking about it. As soon as I'm talking about it, you're telling me to shut up. That's not words becoming a Messiah. I shouldn't talk that way. I can hear Jesus, there's so much more for you to learn, Peter. I mean, have you ever heard him say, Kayla, there's so much more for you to learn. Joe, so much more for you to learn. Teddy, so much more for you to learn. So much more. So many more answers for you to grow into. You know, we always think God is withholding. God's not giving us the answer. God doesn't withhold anything from you. You just don't have the ability. And listen, why would God give you the answer if you can't live it? Because he doesn't want you to know A, B, C, or D, and the answer is A and C. He wants you to live it. Is it not follow me, walk with him? It's not answers A and C and an intellectual. This is a living it. Living the answers. So, wanting us to grow into it. So, be patient. Don't force. I can hear him telling Peter, be patient. Don't force the locked doors. Try to love what is unsolved. Keep living the question. Keep living the question. Who do men say that I am? I, the Son of Man, am. Well, you may have an answer today. It's good. It's really, really good. That answer may change 4 times for the end of the day, and that's okay. When I think about the whole of Peter's story, all the biographical details that we got the privilege to know and ponder, I'm awed, I'm stunned by the answers that Peter must have lived into as time went on. Answers he couldn't begin to articulate in the early years of his discipleship. Remember, he's always opening his mouth. I mean, think about these questions, a little bit from Peter's perspective. Jesus asked, who do you say that I am? Now, this is to Peter. You're the one who found me fishing and gave me a new vocation. You're the one that healed my mother-in-law. You're the one who said, okay, walk on the water. Remember, I'm just sitting here and you invite me out. I mean, you did it. You're the one who caught me before I drowned. Save me, Lord, I perish. I mean, that was you. You're the one who glowed up on the mountaintop, on the Mount of Transfiguration, whiter than the noonday sun. Remember, on that mountain, Peter kept running his mouth with this nonsense. God had to tell him, hush, this is my son, hear him. You're the one who washed my feet when I tried to stop you. Now think about all these things. Kind of put yourself in these, because all of these, we all find that. Because, he tries to wash our feet. You remember we were talking about the mother hen last week? I cried and you would not. He tries to wash our feet, and we kick and stomp and no, and just like the mother hen, I'm calling for you and you won't come, and just like a little child, they stink, they got stuff all over you, try to give them a bath, and they're like, no, my hair is fine. That's what we all do, and this is what Peter's doing. It's what we've all done. You're the one that told me that I would be a coward on the very night when I needed to be brave. Remember? You're the one I denied 3 times to save my own soul, my own skin. You're the one who looked into my eyes with pain and pity when the rooster crowed. Have you guys ever looked at that scene? He looked into Peter's eyes. Have you guys ever knew that you have disappointed the Lord so bad that you cast your eyes down, knowing that you broke his heart? Because in the very moment he needed you to be strong, you was a coward. I think that's all of our experience. If not, hang on, it will be. But, and that same time, you're the one who meets me for breakfast on the beach, and you spoke love into my humiliation. Psalm 6 again, where you at? I cried. Can you imagine Peter just crying, and he wept bitterly, and then Jesus is on the beach cooking him breakfast. You're the one who gave me courage to preach to 3,000 people on Pentecost. You're the one who taught me that I must not call unclean what you have pronounced clean. You're the one who stayed by my side through insults and beatings and imprisonments. You remember Peter being beaten, thrown in prison? You're the one I followed into martyrdom. Peter was crucified. You're the Messiah, the Son of the living God. So here's some questions for us as we get ready to close out. Who do you say that Jesus is? Who has he been to you in the past? Who is he now? Who do you hope he'll be in the future? I'm going to answer a little bit of that just for myself, and then you guys can chime in anytime you want. Who was he for me in the past? Somebody to be scared of? Somebody to fear? Somebody I knew I could measure up to? He wasn't that for me in the past, but that's who he was to me. Somebody to be scared of. Somebody that I could never live up to. But as time went on, relationship begins to build. And then you get into friend and all kinds of other metaphors. Who will he be to me in the future? I don't know. I really don't. Sometimes I can't see beyond. I can't see beyond friend. I don't know. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard for me to put in perspective friend and king. It really is, because he's still king. And he's still friend. I don't know. So these are questions for you to ponder. Has anybody got any comment on that? The Son of the living God. That's where we begin.
But in the morning, he may just be our strength. Or in the afternoon, he may be a comforter. Or
A healer.
These answers are going to vary every day. Exactly. And he's still all of it. Every single person is going to see him in those ways. A teacher, a rabbi, or, just...
Comforter.
Yeah,
Whatever you have need of.
Yeah.
receive it at that moment.
Yeah. And he's asking us, how have you experienced me? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the question for us. Well, let me say this. These are questions to ponder for a lifetime. Okay? Not an A, B, C, or D. Questions that have so many others folded into them. We'll never exhaust the possibilities. So, here's some questions for us. What stories of Jesus have you inherited? Do you understand what I mean by that question? They're not your stories. They were just given to you. Guys, we all got some of that. We all got that. What truths about him do you need to say goodbye to? Because I guarantee you, they're going to be in those stories that you inherited. Are y'all with me on what I'm saying here?
I do. I was trying to think of the right words. You know, how like people will tell you as you're growing up, you know, this is, oh, you better not do that because God will get you, blah, blah, blah. There's so many.
You know, when you come in and you think, okay, the Jesus that I am inherited is a scary one.
Yes.
Or maybe the Father is a scary one. If you do this, then he's going to get you. Okay, that's an inherited story that's given to me. But now he's answering me. He's asking me the question, okay, Denise, this is where you began. You began scared of me. But now let's revisit the question. Who do you say that I am? How have you experienced me? Have I been the one giving you cancer? Was I the one that gave you kidney stones? Was I the one that did that to you? How do you answer that question now? And I have to go back and I say, well, no. It wasn't you who did that. As a matter of fact, you were with me going through that. You healed me. So now, maybe the inherited answer I got, I need to throw out. Because now it's a fresh question. But you see, we began somewhere. And now, and see, that's why it's important, because Jeff's journey is here. Joe's journey's here. He asks Jeff, who do you say that I am? Jeff says, well, you're somebody to be feared. I know how you are. I know how you crush your enemies. I know, boy, don't nobody say nothing wrong in your presence. You'll get them. And he asked Joe, who do you say that I am? And Joe says, I used to think your way, but now I see, and I've been through all of that. So see, two different ones, but still the same question that's coming to us.
Depending on what you've been through.
And see, Jeff is not willing to throw down what he's inherited yet, and Jesus didn't ask him to. He's just asking the question, who do you say that I am? How have you experienced me? So then we'll revisit the question, did you experience me in that way? Did you think that was me, William, giving you that stuff? Did you think that was me, Teddy, causing all that pain on you? Did you? You know? It's a fresh question. What religious assumptions are you clinging to because they're familiar and they're safe and they're easy? Because we like the familiar, the safe, and the easy. Because the other's the unknown. And then, why are you afraid at times to answer the questions at all? Who do you say that I am? And sometimes that question fills us with shame. I mean, it just does. So, is Jesus merely the Messiah? Or is he yours? Yeah, I mean, do you understand here? You've inherited something. When you inherit something, it's yours. I mean, what Peter learns is that Jesus is just as powerfully present in the questions as he is in the answers. Maybe even more so. To love what is unsolved is to allow Jesus to enter more deeply into your heart. Let me say that again. To love what is unsolved. What is unknown is to allow Jesus to enter more deeply into your heart than any impersonal claim about him will ever do. So live the question. That is Jesus' invitation that he makes to us all, over and over again to us all. An invitation of love. Maybe I'm going to close here in just a second. I'm going to go over here and just give you 3 verses. 3 verses, if I can find them. Out of the Song of Solomon. I think the Song of Solomon is just wonderful. 3 verses. Because, man, Song of Solomon is a love story. It's a passionate love story. And here the bride says, my beloved is mine and I'm his. Right? We belong to each other. My beloved is mine and I'm his. She's got it. Okay, me and you together. We're going through this. Now again, she would ask the question, who do men say that I am? Well, I'm yours and you're mine. So as the journey goes on and she has a Psalm 5 night or Psalm 6 night, where are you? Where's my beloved? Where's he gone? And she's looking everywhere and her bed is filled with tears and she wonders. And now she says this is my beloved and this is my friend. And then she makes this confession. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. And as it goes on, a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, she finally makes this final confession. I am my beloved's. I belong to him. It's all I know. I'm his. I belong to him. And his desire is for me. See, at first she put herself on equal ground. I'm my beloved's. My beloved is mine. We're walking this thing together. And as it went on and the friendship, and it just grew and grew and grew, and she was so overwhelmed, she said, all I know is I belong to him, and man, is he for me. What a confession that is. I love that. So that leaves us with the question, Jesus asked us, who do men say that I am? And as we quit here, let me tell you where we're going to be next week. I want to try to do this as often as I can so you guys can ponder on it. We're going to be in Mark's Gospel probably for the next couple weeks. First chapter, verse 29 through 35. And that's where Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law. Pretty simple. 2 verses, pow, done, over with, let's move on. But is he got something to teach us? Baby, you can cut it off back there if you want.